The Dallas Cowboys just pulled off one of the most underrated moves of this entire offseason, and somehow nobody is making a big deal about this. So let me break down exactly why this hire might be the missing piece that takes our defense from good to absolutely dominant. And before we dive deep into this, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we cover every single Cowboys update the moment it happens. And trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming next for this team. All right, so here is the situation, and I need you to really lock in because this one matters more than people realize. Yesterday, the Cowboys quietly brought in Coach BT Jordan as a pass rush specialist. And when I tell you this move is massive, I am not exaggerating even a little bit. See, this is the type of hire that separates championship caliber organizations from teams that are just kind of floating around hoping things work out. For years, and I mean years, Dallas has had this reputation of being a little too conservative when it comes to building out the coaching staff and investing in these specialized positions that actually develop players. But something has clearly shifted in the front office because this addition tells me they are serious about taking the defense to another level. Now, let me explain who BT Jordan actually is and why you should be hyped right now. This man spent the last 2 seasons with the Denver Broncos, and what happened in Denver during that time is absolutely wild. Under his guidance as the pass rush specialist, the Broncos led the entire NFL in sacks both years. Not just good numbers, we are talking about league-leading dominance. They had the most quarterback pressures in 2024 and then came back and did it again in 2025. They led the league in quarterback hits back-to-back seasons as well. We are talking about 63 sacks in 2024 and 68 sacks in 2025, and that is not a coincidence. That is coaching, that is technique, that is player development at its finest. And here is what nobody is talking about right now. The Cowboys' new defensive line coach, Dixon, actually worked under BT Jordan in Denver. You see how this is all connecting? Jerry and the front office are not just randomly throwing names at a board. They are building something cohesive. They are putting together a staff that already has chemistry and a shared philosophy on how to rush the passer and develop young talent. This is calculated, this is intentional, and honestly, this is exactly what we have been begging for. But wait, it gets even better because think about who we have on this roster right now that desperately needs this type of specialized coaching. Donovan Nzaraku came into Dallas with all the hype in the world after terrorizing offensive lines at Boston College, but last season he kind of hit a wall and his development seemed to stall out. Was that his fault? Maybe a little, but I also think he needed more individualized attention and better pass rush specific coaching to unlock the next level of his game. Then you have Chauncey Golston and other young edge pieces who have flash potential but have not quite put it all together consistently. These are not scrubs we are talking about. These are athletes with elite physical tools who just need the right coaching to mold them into the players we know they can become. And the crazy part is this perfectly complements what Christian Parker is bringing as the new defensive coordinator. Parker made his name developing defensive backs and turning guys like Patrick Surtain and Quinion Mitchell into absolute stars. But the edge rush is where everything starts on defense. You cannot have an elite secondary if your pass rush is giving quarterbacks 5 seconds to throw the ball all day. It all works together. So now you have Parker focusing on the back end, developing our corners and safeties, while BT Jordan is going to be in the trenches every single day, working hand in hand with Dixon to turn our defensive line into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. I am telling you right now, this coaching staff is built different than what we have seen in Dallas in a very long time. Think about last season for a second and be honest with yourself. Our pass rush outside of a few moments was inconsistent at best. Dante Fowler, who has been a solid rotational rusher his entire career, fell off a cliff in Dallas. Devontae was coming off injury, so he gets a pass, but he did not hit the numbers we expected. And without Micah Parsons healthy for stretches, our edge pressure completely disappeared. You cannot tell me that was purely a talent issue because we have seen these same players produce elsewhere. Sometimes the difference between a guy looking washed and a guy looking like a Pro Bowler is simply having the right coach in his ear every day, teaching the small details that make a huge difference on Sundays. BT Jordan is that coach. And here is what gets me so excited about this whole thing. When you watch what Jordan does with his players, it is an art form. He talks about how rushing the passer is like being a painter, perfecting your craft day by day, rep by rep. He focuses obsessively on the small details, the hand placement, the weight transfer, the approach steps, the angles, the muscle memory that allows you to react instinctively when a 320-pound offensive lineman is trying to stop you. He has his guys doing hundreds of pass rush reps every single day because he understands that at game speed, when everything is moving 100 miles per hour, you cannot be thinking, you have to be reacting, and that only comes from putting in the work over and over until it becomes second nature. He trained guys like Max Crosby before he became a superstar. He worked with Gerald McCoy and Rashawn Gary and Ed Oliver. This is not some random position coach who got lucky with good players. This is a specialist who actually makes players better, and everywhere he goes, production follows. Now, some people might be sitting there thinking, okay, Rome, this is cool, but it is just another assistant coach hire. How much can this really matter? And I get that skepticism because we have all seen coaching hires that get hyped up and then nothing changes. But here is why this one feels different. First of all, the track record is undeniable. Denver leading the league in every major pass rush category 2 years straight is not a fluke. Second, the way Dallas has structured this staff with Dixon reporting to Jordan and both of them working under Parker shows there is a real plan here, a real vision for how the defense is going to operate. Third, and this is the biggest one for me, it shows that the Cowboys are willing to invest and add resources even after everyone thought the coaching staff was finalized. They already brought in quality control guys. They already had what looked like a complete staff. And then they said, you know what, let us add one more piece. Let us make sure we have every possible advantage we can get. That mentality is what championship organizations have. That is the Patriots way. That is how the Chiefs operate. That is how you build sustained success in this league. You do not just fill positions, you optimize every single role, and you never stop trying to get better. And look, I am not going to sit here and pretend that one coaching hire magically fixes everything, because we still need to execute on the field and the players still have to put in the work. But I will say this, when you give young, talented players elite coaching, good things tend to happen. Donovan Nzaraku has all the physical tools to be a double-digit sack guy in this league, but he needs someone to refine his technique and teach him how to win consistently against NFL-level offensive linemen. Now he has that. Our other young edge rushers who have been waiting for their opportunity to shine now have a coach who has literally made a career out of maximizing pass rush potential, and the ripple effects of an improved pass rush touch everything else on defense. Better pressure means quarterbacks have to get the ball out faster, which means fewer windows for receivers to get open, which means our corners and safeties can play tighter coverage, which means more turnovers and more 3-and-outs and more wins. It is all connected. And I want y'all to remember this moment right here, because when training camp starts and you see our defensive linemen looking different, moving with more purpose, using better technique, and just dominating in ways they did not last year, you will know exactly why. This is like when Duke Manyweather started working with our offensive linemen, and suddenly guys like Tyron Smith and Zach Martin and Tyler Smith were all operating at a higher level. Duke became this secret weapon for the offensive line development, and now we have our defensive version of that in BT Jordan. The Cowboys clearly looked at what worked on the other side of the ball and said, let us replicate that success with our pass rushers. Smart move. Really smart move. Now, I do want to address something because I know some of y'all are going to bring it up in the comments. Does this hire guarantee that our defense is going to be elite next season? No, of course not. There are still roster moves that need to happen, and we need to see how free agency plays out, and the draft is going to be crucial for adding more talent to the defensive line. But what this does is put the infrastructure in place for success. It tells me that when they do add that young pass rusher in the draft or sign that veteran edge defender in free agency, those players are walking into a situation where they have elite coaching waiting for them. That is how you maximize your investments. That is how you make sure the money you spend and the picks you use actually translate to production on the field. And according to league insiders, the Cowboys are not done making moves to improve the defense. Stephen Jones has already indicated publicly that they are going to be aggressive about upgrading personnel, and I believe him because actions speak louder than words, and hiring BT Jordan is a significant action. It tells me they are putting their money where their mouth is and actually committing resources to fixing the issues that held this team back last year. And honestly, as a fan, that is all you can ask for. You want to see your team trying to get better, being proactive about addressing weaknesses and not just settling for good enough. This hire checks all those boxes for me. I know we have had frustrations with how contract negotiations have gone with certain players, and there are still question marks about the roster, but when it comes to the coaching staff, I have zero complaints right now. This is a young, hungry group of coaches who relate to the players who have proven track records of development and who seem genuinely excited about building something special in Dallas. Christian Parker is going to do amazing things with our secondary. The offensive staff under Clayton is loaded with talent. And now with BT Jordan added to the defensive front, we have specialists at every level of the defense who know how to get the most out of their players. The last Infinity Stone is what I keep thinking about, because that is what this feels like. They had most of the pieces in place, and then they went out and grabbed the one remaining element that completes the picture. A pass rush specialist with a proven track record of turning good defensive lines into dominant ones. Is this the move that puts Dallas over the top? Would you have prioritized this hire? let me know in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear what y'all think about this addition and whether you are as excited as I am about what it means for next season. The ceiling for this defense just got significantly higher, and I cannot wait to see how it all comes together when the pads come on and we start seeing real football again. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already, because we are going to be covering every single development with this coaching staff and this roster as we head toward the season, and you do not want to be the last one to find out when the next big move drops. Cowboys Nation, we have something special brewing here, and this BT Jordan hire is proof that the front office gets it. Now let us see if the players can take advantage of this opportunity and turn all this potential into wins. Drop your thoughts below and let me know, are you buying in on this defense, or do you need to see more before you get hyped? I will catch y'all on the next one.